Okay, hello everybody, good morning. I'm holding this because I need to
Okay,
improve.
hello everybody, good morning.
Sorry, because I have to improve my pronunciation and my mouth, okay, so I can speak clearly and I can speak better. Okay, so that's important to do this. But what is more important now is to understand the questions, the plural of epistemology. Let's kick off this by saying that that my god, this part two is about my god this one. Okay, from the medieval to the modern world, we close the last historical interlude with the Council of Nicaea in 325 and the writing of an official creed or belief statement. or belief statement for the Christian Church. The interlude will review the events between this council and the 1596 birth of René Descartes, generally regarded as the first philosopher of the modern world. Now, we have some legacies. The legacy of monasticism and the Dark Ages. During the 4th century, the practice of some Christians to withdraw from the world in search of spiritual renewal was institutionalized in the monastic movement. This is something that my friend knows better than my friend knows better. Beginning in Egypt, monasteries sprang up in the eastern world and attracted growing numbers of men and women who elected to live in segregated communities and observe standard rules of behavior. Saint Basil, inspired by the example of his sister Macrina, established the standard in the East, requiring monks to refrain from bodily indulgences, to engage in physical labor to keep the monastery self-sufficient, and to spend most of their time in silence. So it's important to understand from this paragraph that we have this monastery, this um, monasticism, this legacy of monasticism that started from the east and then it sprung up in the Eastern world, and it attracts or it attracted growing numbers of men and women. Um, they started to live sex segregated, and they observed standard rules of behavior. Uh, so they required monks to refrain from bodily from body indulgences, to engage physical labor, to keep the monastery self-sufficient. A monastery is self-sufficient because all the community work. They have their own roles. Some of them work in some fields, and some of them cook, and some of them, all of them pray, of course, because they are monks or they are nuns. But they have different labors and different roles that keep the community self-sufficient. This movement spread. This movement spread from the east to the west, where the principal architect was Saint Benedict, who founded a monastery at Monte Cassino, Italy, in 529 and established a rule that became standard in the West. Okay, so who was the first monk who started the monastery movement in Europe? He was Saint Benedict. Saint Benedict was born in Italy around 520 to 29, and he established the rule that became standard in the West. Actually, uh, there is a manual, there is a guide of series of rules that are well thought. So um, they are they have their own yes, policies of how to deal with some problems, how to elect leaders, how to behave, how to forgive, have to be punished because human nature can do many bad or wrong things, so that happens frequently. Monks were required to surrender private property and live in poverty. Important. That's a vote of a monk. They surrendered the private property, all their belongings, all what they considered private. As I think that this is private for me, this belongs to me, that grows what we call our ego, and we can become egoistic or selfish people. On the contrary, to start living in a community, um, it's important to withdraw, to surrender that that private property and start living in poverty. Poverty means or is an ideal of what Jesus taught to his apostles. It's important that all our body is not quite important as our soul is important. Pray with the community at regular intervals and privately. So we pray in community when, for example, when we are at the dinner room and we are in having our breakfast, something. When we have to study, we have to work. It's important to work hard and observe silence. For me, it's important to observe silence because we are living in a very noisy world, um, and we are attracted to this immediate and quick series of movement that are taking us to live under pressure, to live in tension with the things, the, with the people, and all. And then we are living in this very busy world. We have plenty of activities, and and also we don't have time to reflect on ourselves, and we don't have enough time to build up stable relationships or profound relationships. It's more important. But what is more important is to have a relation with God, or what we consider how I am related God. Because I'm not alone here in this world. I'm not living in this nihilistic world as some people thought in the past, but that's a reality. Of course, we are living in a material world, just like Madonna quoted. I quote Madonna. But you may observe silence is something that we have to do to reflect on ourselves, to start practicing our own value and start going back of what we are, because we are not only uh, a as I said, we are not only human beings belonging to this uh, renewal and modernity and modern world that requires to be modern and quick and busy and and immediate and so on. Okay. Finally, you may remember from chapter 4 that that Hildegard of Bingen spent most of her life under the Benedict rule and the Augustine established a monastery. Okay, I'm looking at a map uh, that shows how Benedict monasteries start from Italy since fifth since the sixth century, and then it goes up. It went up to Kingdom of Naples and the Papal States and Florence and Rome and Monte Cassino, which is more important here. It was the first kind of it was the first monastery in Monte Cassino, and then this legacy, uh, René Descartes was born in after 1 millennia after, and then this monasticism was spread uh, throughout Europe, and also we have this new modern world with new scientists or new thinkers or even philosophers that you may know, uh, Copernicus, Martin Luther, or René Descartes, or Isaac Newton, or Gutenberg, who invented the the print the press the printing press. That's it. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna wrap this up with this idea. Okay, then I'll continue talking in English tomorrow.